Moving on now to the Champion Hurdle, and a fascinating contest here, and the market really interesting as well, where Bouvedere just about still the favourite at 2-1, Apples Jade 9-4, Lorina 4-1, Charger for Susannah Ricci at 12-1, Verdana Blue 16-1, 20-1 bar. It's one of the races I'm most looking forward to the festival. Just, I mean, a lot of people saying that Lorina is way too short in the market. A lot of people are saying they reckon Apples Jade will go off favourite for this as well. Tony, coming to you first, how do you make sense of this?
I haven't got any arguments for the front two of the market, which when you're looking for an each way angle, when the front two of the market are very solid, it makes it, you know, less attractive clearly. Like most people, I'd probably be looking to place Lorina on the day. However, I think you're going to have to pay for it, because I think everyone's going to be of a similar mindset. Obviously, we don't know what Lorina is, but what we do know is she's going to have to find, 15 to £20 improvement to beat the top two. It could well be there, but for me, I don't think she'll have the pace. Coming back to the ground, I think again I'm assuming it's going to be nearer softer than good to soft on the day, which probably will be against the likes of Verdana Blue. Got a lot of time for, but I didn't think she had an ideal prep on the flat at Kempton recently, and it's going to be against Charger as well. Probably need better ground. I can see the case for Mellon 20s each way. Now he ran really badly at Leopardstown, but the market forecast that just as it did the year before, and if it comes back to that, obviously that next second to Bouvedere last year, Mellon could well be the overpriced one in there. I have backed Super Sunday, luckily some non-runner no bet, but I've had a little nibble on Betfair in the 20s, which looks really clever now that the last trading price on Betfair is 170. They've always said they're going to run in the Champion if they get soft ground, but I think they're going to get the soft ground, but I think they're looking at the stayers and thinking, that could really cut up. I mean, for me, I think Espoir Dalan, if that's the fifth favourite and Lorina's the third favourite, I think there must be some prices elsewhere. So, but for me, maybe Mellon at 20s each way. And if you can get, I think there might be. Is there some 20-1 nominal no bet Mellon with Unibet?
With Unibet, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's probably 20-1 each way nominal no bet. Unibet is probably the bet in the race. But the problem, as I come back to, I think the front two of the market are very solid. I think Apples Jade probably would be my pick of the pair, but I wouldn't have much in it, and that pretty much aligns with the betting.
If there's ever an advert to why you should use Oddschecker, if you're backing Mellon and you backed it blind with Labrix, you'll be getting 7-1 or on no bet, when Unibet are 20-1. So big prices out there if you're shopping around. Andy, how do you, looking at those top two or the top three in the market, I mean, can you split them, or are you looking at bigger prices?
It's just a fascinating race, isn't it? Obviously, we've got the inclusion of the two mares this year, which we didn't really expect earlier in the season. Pre-Christmas, it looked like, we were already putting the garland around Bouvedere's neck. So from that point of view, from a betting perspective, from a spectacle perspective, all of a sudden I think we've got now probably one of the best champion odds we're going to see for quite a while. And how it's run is obviously going to be crucial to the outcome in most races, but even more so here. As far as I could see, there's at least two of the front runners along with Apples Jade. One of them in particular is going to be more or less a sacrificial lamb again. That's Charlie Parks. You'd imagine connections at Bouvedere will be thinking, well, Faheen wanted to make the run last year and they managed to do a number on him. Apples Jade's going to want to row around both in front. To be at her best anyway, I always think she's better when she's bullying opposition. She doesn't. I know she has come off the pace before, like she did in the 2.5 mile race when she got a lead and then took it up at halfway.
You'd be worried about Global Citizen as well, wouldn't you?
And then you've got Global Citizen. I was going to say you've got him into the equation. Not to mention if Petit Mouchoir comes in here as well. So there's going to be loads of pace sign on here. So as a punter, I'm going to be uncomfortable backing Apples Jade. I think if she got a freebie and it was an ordinary, if it was just a match between, let's say, one against another, and there's no other outside forces, you'd want to be on with her all day long. But this is a proper horse race in the sense that jockeys are going to have to get the tactics right. You're going to have to be in the right place at the right time. You're going to have to avoid mistakes. Everything, the ground's going to have to be crucial for your horse. And I think Barry Gerrits will be going out there with a huge smile on his face here, with a bit more confidence this year, knowing that he's got a target to run at. Yeah. He's got a horse that knows his way around the Champion Hurdle course. Come the big day, he turns up, as Nicky Henderson's horses often do. again, he's had a similar campaign to what he normally has. He hasn't been overfaced. He's run on easy races, flat tracks where he hasn't been put to the sword. If he runs anywhere near that level when he won first time out in the fighting fifth, I think he'll win, and he'll win comfortably. The great thing is he's edging that to a sort of a nice price, and if the money comes for Applesjade, dare I say, you could almost be thinking about backing Bouvardere into each-way multiples, because it's daft it sounds, 5-2, 11-4, even 3-1. It could even go out to that. You're getting caught at the odds. I mean, it's just like putting your hand in the till, isn't it, for an each-way bet? It's literally a freebie.
Especially with 12-1 bar, the top three, and we're saying Lorina's too short. So
I mean, barring a fall, it's impossible to see Bouvardere not being in the three.
Yeah.
He'll come there cantering, going down from the second last to the last, and then whether he just goes and puts it to bed and Applesjade's been softened up, that would probably be the scenario that you'd hope for if you fancy him. I agree with the boys about Lorina. I wouldn't be as absolute dogmatic about her at the moment because we haven't had enough evidence. But the thing that kind of worries me is when she ran last time out at Punchestown, and that was only a prep race, and I know she was only in third gear, but I was expecting more of her off my time figures. I remember when Annie Power won that race, and she was considerably quicker than the other races on the card, which you'd expect from a champion hurdle aspirant.
Limini was the same, dear.
Limini was the same, absolutely battered all the other horses on the card. But insult to horse of Henry de Bromans, who won a maiden hurdle over 2.5 miles, went 2:29.3 for the circuit. Lorina did 2:31, so that was 1.7 seconds slower. Lorina was a maiden hurdle winner. And then if you did from the back of the second last, they've both clocked 39.8. It doesn't read right. A champion hurdle horse should be running quicker than a horse in a maiden hurdle going flat out at the end of a strongly run race. So that's the reason why I agree with the boys with Lorina. Based on my evidence I've got there, I just don't think she's quick enough to win a champion hurdle.
Based on the evidence, there's no reason for her to be 4-1 for the races there.
And yet, like I say, when she had a good pace in last year's mare race, she was good and she was quite good on the figure. So, like I say, I'm at 6s and 7s with her, but ultimately I'll come back off the back of that run last time out.
I think, as Ruby said, they don't know.
No,
he doesn't know either.
She's just an unknown. Too much of an unknown quantity.
She's easy to crab, but it's. I think.
But it's like.
You wouldn't be surprised if she's still travelling there, coming to the last either at the same time.
Yeah. You're a brave man if you want to. I mean, Tony's probably got it right loud in the place mark because it's minimal damage. If he's right, he's going to be right spectacularly. But I wouldn't want to be laying her at 6-7 to 1 if she goes out of that sort of price. She's too good of a mare to be risking at that price.
I'm one of the many people who backed her on the 15th of March last year, I think, and I've been sitting on it for a year.
What price do you get?
12s.
All right.
Nice,
it's okay,
price.
It's all right.
So
lay it back at 5.
There you go. In summary, everything's going to be set up perfectly for Bouvardere to run to his best, and at his best, that's usually pretty good enough.
Yeah. And Joe, so you're nodding along with.
I think Ruby and Barry are. I think it's a very big moment for Jack with Applesjade because there's probably only one way that she can be ridden, especially over this trip. I'm not sure Charlie Parks is as much the issue as perhaps the Pauline horse. But I think Ruby's going to be able to take a posse just in behind without having to worry. So he'll be able to get what's likely to be a lively mare settled. But I think the race just sets up lovely for Bouvardere. And I think if it does get soft, I think his best form is arguably on softer ground anyway. I think Sharjah's chance is quite literally in the hands of Simon Clace. From a watering point of view, not so much the skies. We also have Saldi in here, and he's probably likely to run. And at the start of the season, he'd have been the one that we would have been saying could step up. And he's a horse we think an awful lot of. But he's had a shocking prep. He'd have probably, Ruby's adamant he'd have beaten Esport Dallin back in November when he fell at the last. And it wasn't the fall that was the issue, but there was a horse coming behind him which actually gave him a kick and broke his nose. So that's what's left him out for some time, and then the whole equine flu stuff, etc. So he's just had an awful prep. But certainly with a view to the future, he's a horse to keep an eye on. It's just a pity. He's gone up 5 pounds since for not actually leaving because of Esport Dallin's form. I think Bouvardere is, there's a reason he's 1-2, and Nicky's brilliant at these champion hurdlers. I just think the race sets up perfect for Barry. I think the ground is going to go against Sharjah, I'm afraid, unfortunately.
How big a fact do you think? I mean, obviously, he's won on soft ground at Galway, but I don't know how soft it was that day. But
that was.
Do you really think the ground's a massive factor? The form book would suggest it probably is.
Yeah, I think it is. And I just think he finds life a bit easier on it as much as anything else. You know, he, like last year at the, he fell at Christmas when he jumped the Shadow. The Dublin Racing Festival, when he was against Sam Crow back at 2 miles, he literally was there tanking as they were leaving the back straight. And just as the pace quickened, he just can't let himself down. His legs just start spinning. Which is odd, because a lot of the Dr. Dinos seem to be going on softer ground, but maybe that's just him. He's more of a flatbread type, but you know, Galway. I think Bedrock may have been the best horse in the day there. He just didn't win because Bedrock was actually behind Max Dynamite after 3 hurdles, who hadn't jumped any of the first 3, and he's come from a mile back to finish second. But you know, Patrick. He's a horse whose confidence is flying at the moment, and Patrick certainly seems to get on very well with him. That's not to say he's going to ride him or anything like that, but I just think that the quicker they go on better ground, he's just able to do things so much easier. He just finds life that much easier on better ground.
Just come out of the ground, just one final point on the ground. I mean, Simon Clace has got a tricky decision to make, because it's an unsettled forecast. There's not a great deal of rain forecast in any given day from the forecast I use, but there's consistent bands of rain coming up. So if that doesn't materialise, at what point does he start, getting the taps turned on?
But the trouble is as well, I've found with Cheltenham in recent years that it doesn't take racing very well on softened ground. It starts to get chewed up very quickly. You know, the November meeting's a prime case in point that everyone is going for these narrow strips of ground on either side, and I know they alternate courses as well. I think while it drains very well when there's no activity on it. But when there's racing on it, a 4-day festival, we saw it last year come to Gold Cup Day, and that was only the second day on that track. I don't think it takes racing very well.
The one thing I will say about that though, this year has been different, isn't it? Because I think in the last few years we've been racing on genuinely soft, heavy winter ground, and it's been chewed up, and I think they've had problems getting it back to where they want. But this year, because of the amazing climate we've had, I don't think it'd be as relevant. But I agree with Joe with regards Sharjah. Funny enough, he's my quickest horse I've got in the champion hurdle lineup. Based on my speed figures this season, he's winning the Morgiana, was absolutely off the charts. He's a right weapon when the grounds are decent. I actually put him up a week ago in a
good form. I wouldn't put you off. It's
absolutely,
he's a good form at home.
He's deadly, but the forecast is rather putting me off a little bit. I was prepared to be with him sort of 8, 9, 10 to 1.
Yeah, 12 to 1 best price.
Yeah, I think no matter what the ground is cold on the Tuesday, if you see the times of the Supreme and the Arkle and they don't seem to be too slow, I think then you could probably
definitely.
It's interesting. I think I've read something recently saying it's been good to soft at the festival in a couple of times in the last 4 or 5 years, and there's been near record times on good to soft ground. So but I think with the health and safety concerns this year, I think they're going to.
It was the nap of the week, wasn't it? What's the ground going to be on the opening day of the festival?
Yeah.
To live the 10. So it was the nap of the week for a few years.
Well, unfortunately, last year with the 50 to 1 heavy came up. It was heavy last year, wasn't it? But it's like I said, who would be Clark in the course? But like I said, I think I'm just going on the basis of soft, good to soft.